I'm going to be challenging you today in a multitude of ways. Number one, deep stretches. Number two, we're going to be discovering some different shapes and some old classic poses and maybe a couple new ones. So I know the excitement is just bubbling out of you. Grab a set of yoga blocks if you have them, a blanket or a towel for your knees if you have sensitivities there. And this little guy is set around the height of your hip flexors. If you feel like you're pretty tight in your hips, I'm gonna say lower it just a little. Get yourself ready and we'll begin. I just filmed the first angle of our warm-up from over there. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty deep. If you're super tight in your hips, I want you to come down just a little. Table position. This is where, if you want to pad those knees, now would be a good time. I want you to move right into cat-cows. Exhale as you curl and round. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the tailbone. Exhale, tuck. And drop. Make sure your head goes along for the ride. Top of the head to the ground as you round, and the back of the head towards the sacrum as you come up. Do one more. Come back to center. You're going to take that right foot, bring it into the fabric. Give it a little push back. And peek over your left shoulder. So just try to get a little stretch in that hip flexor region. If you want to do a gentle pulse back and forth. But most importantly, drive that hip crease towards the floor on the right side. Active pressure down with the foot. Come forward. I want you to stack right over your hands with your shoulders. Try not to pivot your hip because it's going to want to pivot open. Try to lift your right arm towards the ceiling. Really squeeze through your back with your shoulder blades. Breathing in. Exhale, coming down and pushing back again. Look over your shoulder on the left, sink the hip to the right. Come back underneath those hands with your shoulders. We're going to do probably what you wanted to do, which was pivot. So I want to pivot. Notice my left foot just rotated. So it's almost like that foot becomes a kickstand behind me. Side plank variation. From here, arm can be up, or it could be by your ear for a little more length. I'm even going to think of really trying to engage and crunch through this side body on the left. I'm not gonna lie, this transition is a bit tricky, but I want you to think using the strength of your core. So I'm gonna breathe in for prep, exhale, push off the ground to come up. Reach with your hand. I'm gonna use my right hand here to grab both panels. And then just think of sending your weight towards that leg, just a little. Then to go deeper, I'm going to think of engaging the glutes and pressing my hips forward as I think of lifting my heart to the ceiling. So really draw open through that upper body. Shoulders are sliding down your back. And I'm going to come up, back panel with the left, and we've gotten right to business. One more breath. Go ahead and take your slow exit. Let's do it with control, right? Because 2024 will be the year of strong abs, maybe. Coming down and pivot. Whew, push it back. Look over the left shoulder and release. Widen your knees. Toes together, push back. Take a child's pose. You can also stack your forehead here. I like to get those knees as wide as possible. and just melt. Take the time to center yourself. During our practice, I want you to stay away from negativity. I want you to have fun with these practices, but I want you to be challenged. I want you to be humble. Arms up. Table pose. Let's bring that left leg in. Pushing back. Look over your shoulder, right side, to a couple of these little pulses. Hold it. Active pressure down through the foot. Shoulders over hands. Remember not to pivot through the hip. Try to balance while reaching your left arm towards the ceiling. Squeeze through the muscles in your back. And release. Pushing back, looking over the shoulder. Let's get ready for our transition. Remember, this right knee and foot will swivel. Side plank to start. Point that left knee to the ceiling. Come into your side plank variation of choice. Arm overhead or reaching by the ear. Push into the floor. Really think of lifting through the side body. I also want you to see your next transition in your mind before you get there. It will help, I promise. I'm going to use this floor to help me. Pushing, lifting, and grabbing. So I'm going to grab with the same hand as foot. I do notice that my foot is slightly pointing to that back corner of the mat. So that is what would be the back left corner of my mat if I were facing forward. I'm going to squeeze the glutes, keep pushing that foot forward, hard to ceiling. Option to look for that back panel with your right hand. Breathing in and exhale. Let's find that core. Begin to slowly drift down, drift down, drift down until you can't take it anymore for your pivot. Whew, and push. Release your hammock. Hands once again right underneath your shoulders, classic table position. Let's take a little circle. Grab the ground with your fingers like we're trying to palm a basketball. Reverse. Then come back to center. Flip your palm. I'm gonna do one at a time here, just in case this is a sensitive area for you. The closer the hand is to your foot, the easier or more gentle the stretch is. You could also alternatively just begin to send your body weight back. Crease of the elbow is forward, keeping the shoulder out of your ear. Peel off slowly, switching sides. Ease back slowly. Again, checking shoulder here away from the ear. Coming off that floor. And to finish that warm up, come into a prayer pose. Try to drive your belly to your thighs, tailbone reaching nice and high. Then the forehead touches. I want you to hold onto the floor with your hands, press down, drag your hips away from your hands, go deeper. Sinking your hips to your heels. Reach your hands up. You should be able to grab that fabric to come all the way onto your feet. And you can come right to your shoulders. Let's go ahead and take a back bend. Hands behind your head as always. Arch over your fabric. Bring your elbows closer to your ears. See if you can arch deeper. Lifting the head. And step your feet wide. I want you to take it side to side. We're gonna need our side body for our peak pose. Hinge to the right and hold your head with the right hand. Reach the left arm up and over and think side crunch. I'm gonna keep crunching my right elbow towards my right knee as I reach long through the left side. Breathe in. Exhale, pass through center. Make sure your head is supported. Side crunch, elbow to knee. Reach through that right arm. And do one more to each side. Little deeper. Pass through center. Over to the left. Coming back, holding onto that fabric, heel toe the feet together. Left foot crosses over, find the floor to the right. Take your twist, right? So remember that you don't really need hands here. I am going to grab the forearm, not the wrist, and just gently give a little more stretch. Center, pivot. Find stability first, then if you want to do the little hand variation, you can take it. Coming around, walking back. Bringing your swing in front. Now comes the fun part. Normally I go right. Today I'm gonna start left so that I can face you. Get right underneath your plumb line and make your pivot like a warrior two would. And just for good measures, we'll take one. Keep strong through the legs, soft through the shoulders, lift through the sternum. Come back. And here's where we're gonna start getting really deliberate with what we're doing with our body. New stretch. I'm gonna bring my left hand nice and low. My right hand comes high. We're gonna focus on our rotation, but I want you to use your arms to help you. I want you to push your left arm away, and I want you to pull your right arm towards you. Now I want you to try to pivot towards the ceiling while engaging your glutes and pushing them forward. So I'm feeling a whole new sensation all the way through that side body. Really pull with your right arm. Now we're gonna try a different angle. Hands can stay the same, action will be different. Through the pelvis. Push with left, pull with right, breathe in. Exhale, curl under, push further, pull harder. Now I want you to try to lift your sacrum to the ceiling and press your body weight slightly forward. Keep lifting your sacrum, it matters. Come up and relax. That's a new one, at least in my body. Let's see if we can take it a little deeper. Move to the ankle. First one, we rotate. Left low, right high. Begin to push away left, pull right. Start engaging your glutes and try pivoting to the ceiling. Give me one more breath. and relax. Keep your hands as they are. Round your back like a cat, breathe in. Exhale, curl that tailbone under. You're gonna push left, pull right. Now begin to shift. Lift your tailbone to the ceiling, drop your belly to the floor. Come up and breathe. Let's release. I was gonna turn, but if I'm smart, I'm just gonna walk to the other side because I could still face you. So now, right leg comes in, find that comfortable place right underneath your plumb line. Start with your warrior two. So we've got those left toes pointing forward. I feel like this is a walk in the park after those other two stretches. Pull back and let's begin. Right hand is low, left hand is high. Let's start with the hands. Make sure you're in a good place in relation to your plumb line. You shouldn't be fighting. I'm gonna push and I'm gonna pull. Now I want you to rotate your heart to the ceiling. Squeeze your glutes and press them forward. One more breath. Good, relax. Don't move your hands, we need them. Now I want you to go again. This time I'm gonna start leaning forward. I'm gonna lean forward, push, pull with the top. Start with an arching cat pose and then we'll just move to the opposing. So I'm gonna exhale, round and curl. Now I want you to keep pressing forward and try to lift your tailbone to the ceiling, belly to the floor. Give me one more breath. Coming back and OMG, relax. Extend out. Right hand low, left hand high. Just for the record, my palm is facing out on this top arm. Kind of feels better with my wrist to really pull on. Push right, pull left, rotate to the ceiling, engage your glutes. I want you to press your pelvis to the long end of the mat. Breathe, keep your arms as they are. Take a breath. Exhale, round your back. Begin to lean forward, push your right arm, pull your left arm, then slowly transition. I'm gonna lift my sacrum, drop the belly. Should feel like you're trying to move into a cow pose. Come up and breathe. Whew. Take a breath. Let's go ahead and just find the fabric. Take it into a gentle back bend after that. Up and easy forward fold, meaning a very passive variation of a downward dog or a literal hang, your choice. So yogi decides, I'm gonna hang because it feels good. But you might wanna take a downward dog if you disagree. Hands to the floor. Lift your gaze, take your walk. Up and out. All right, we are heading towards our peak pose, which is going to be this way. So I'm going to mirror as I normally do when I face you. And I want you to come right behind your fabric in a wide angle. We're leading up to a pose or variations of a pose called skandasana. It's quite deep and also requires a lot of hip and ankle mobility. If you need your block, I'm going to show you what it looks like so you can get yourself prepared before we even start. If you cannot come down like so, notice my heel is on the floor. I can stack my blocks just behind my heel to sit on it. Ta-da! So if you know there's no way I'm getting down to the floor today, or ever, grab some blocks, put them right behind your heel. Start by sending your body weight back, long spine, right knee bends, left leg straight, come up through center, and pivot to the other side. So just trying to get that nice stretch through the inner thighs. Make sure your knee is tracking to your toes, toes pointing out just a slight bit. And let's see if we can work down to that pose. So, sending the hips back. If you're looking for your blocks, you're gonna find your blocks, I know they're down there, and rotate so that your knee and your foot point towards the ceiling. Your pose looks much like this. Spinning open, using that arm against the leg. If you think you can come all the way to the ground, come all the way to the ground. Fabric is my friend right now. I'm gonna push into the leg and try to open up. Right now I am not touching the floor with my left hip, but I will now. So, if you need to sit back, really engage your abs here so we don't lose our balance. I'm gonna let that go. Our skandasana, hand is gonna come across. I want you to look at your variations on your block because you'll have multiple options. Right arm is gonna reach up. Keep this knee pushing out the whole time. I'm gonna reach up, 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 and reach towards that left foot. So that might be your pose. Some of you might say, I can find a foot, I can find an ankle, I can find a shin. Your pose. You want to rotate to the ceiling. I told you today would be a challenge. I wasn't lying. Coming up. Grab that fabric, pull down, right? We're gonna transition through center. Whew. For those of you who use blocks, I want you to slide them behind your left heel. Let's take a look at that second side. We'll go back and forth a couple times, straight and bend. Extend forward through the hips, long spine. Let's take a look. Begin to drop our way down. I am going to stay holding for a moment. Right now my hips aren't actually touching the ground, but I am using this elbow to push open. Then I'm going to find my seat and use my core so I don't fall over. Hand comes across, up, and across. That might be your pose. Remember, if you find something, a foot, an ankle, right? I want to spin to the ceiling. Breathe in. Exhale. We release. Use that fabric to come up. Here we go through center. Pull down. Coming up. Step those feet together. And into your hang. Downward dog or ragdoll hang. Hands to the floor, walk yourself up. All the way up. And from here, I want you to just grab the fabric. guide yourself down. Make sure you're right underneath your plumb line. Pull the knees in. And if you want, you don't have to use your hammock for this, but I'm going to. See if I can get my right heel to catch. I realize if your legs are shorter and your ceiling is higher, that might be a bit of a stretch, no pun intended. But I'm gonna see if I could pull this left leg across. See how that feels. Try to keep your left shoulder on the floor. We're going for that deep stretch through the left side. If you want to try for the foot, now my hips are going to lift off the ground if I straighten, which I don't mind. So I'm going to slowly try to straighten and scissor those inner thighs together. I'm using my left hand here to push the hip away. Release. See if we can go into a counter pose here. So I'm going to grab my foot, basically half of a happy baby. Try to drive the knee towards the floor. Maybe extend that leg out to the side. I'm going to push down through the right heel if it's in the fabric. If it's long on the ground, push the heel into the ground and relax. Legs come together. Left leg will come in. I'm actually gonna lift myself in there. Right knee pulls across. That could be enough. If you want to look for the foot, again, there might be some twisting here in the fabric or some lifting off the ground. I'm going to use that thumb and the hip to drive it away. Bent, half of a happy baby. You can also hold the back of the thigh if you wanted to. I'm gonna go foot, knee to floor, maybe. Downward pressure through the foot on the fabric or the ground. Try to lengthen. Am I in the camera? I am barely there. And release. Bring both knees in. Hold on to the knees, one in each hand, circular churn in one direction. Over to the other. Come back to center. I want you to place those feet as wide as the mat. Lift and lower your hips. Let the knees tent in. I am going to melt into the floor. If you want to use your fabric for Shavasana, climb in or hang through the backs of the knees. Find your way there. Small movements, fingers, toes. Maybe gently rock your head from side to side. Pull the knees in and rock your way up. Even though we weren't suspended in air or hanging upside down, I feel like this was one of the more challenging practices on the channel. So, if you're still here, good work. Hopefully we'll work together soon, as always. And until then, Namaste. Do you want to show everybody how cute you are?